At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Northwest Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 479-203-5880, or visit our website at directservicenwa.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, welcome everybody to Hogville Net YouTube preview show. The Razorbacks taking on the Ole Miss Rebels. Let's do this. Boom. There we go. Our two lovely faces. Dudley Dawson alongside me today. First off, how you doing? How you feeling today, Dudley?
I'm doing good. Doing good. You know, as you are sporting, the Celtics are doing great, so that has me, happy. Last week's Cowboy game did not, but then the Eagles lost, so it's 6-1, half a dozen of the other. Dallas is a weird team this year.
I just cannot put a finger on. I don't know what to make of their defense. Their secondary, I can't figure out what's going on with Dallas at all.
50 years of this stuff for me, man. 50 years of this stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you had the 90s.
In the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s. That's true. That's very true. Rams are atrocious. I mean, typical.
Yeah, but you had a trophy last year, so.
Yeah, we had the hardware. We had the hardware last year, and that is true. And I kind of felt like, well, I said during the offseason, looking at the moves they made, I wasn't so sure about Bobby Wagner. I didn't know that made sense. You lost Von Miller. They had Ndamukong Suh a couple years before that to kind of help Aaron Donald get his game going up front. Not that he needs a lot of help. He's a future Hall of Famer, but I just wasn't so sure. And I knew then I don't know if this is a playoff team. And then of course they played Buffalo Bills week 1, and well, what you see is what you get. They're not good. They're not a good team. Cowboys are better, and I hate to admit that, but they are. All right. Arkansas is getting ready to take on Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is better.
Ole Miss is better. All right, so that's it in the show. That's it. Ole Miss is just better. Do you kind of think they maybe have run into the buzzsaw finally of the difficult part of their schedule?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I still think they're a really good football team. Obviously, played Alabama off their feet last week. Had a really good season. But, yeah, I think the schedule was front-loaded for them to have success. Lane Kiffin was around here from ages 2 to 5 when his dad was a defensive coordinator, assistant coach for Coach Broyles. And he has an affinity for this place. Almost came back here during the Bobby Petrino hire. He's talked about that a lot, and that was discussed with him. Just didn't work out. He certainly had some success down there at Ole Miss, and he's fascinating to cover. Just watching his press conferences again this week, that's some good quotes there that he produces out, and you got two guys here in this game that. One goes for it on fourth down all the time. One goes for it on fourth down occasionally, and for some reason on his side of the field, got to stop that. I think that's that's one of the you can play it. The analytics, you can play percentages and all that, but you got to do what's right at a certain point in the ball game. And for a couple of weeks, it's just I think those are good bad decisions.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at some things about Ole Miss that stand out a little bit. Something that does stand out, a couple things. Against quality opponents in the second half, they have not been very good. They've struggled in the second half against what you could consider quality opponents. And then even the not-so-quality opponents, Tulsa, outscored them 10-0 in the second half. I think it was game number 4 of the season.
Very early on, yeah.
So it was, and Ole Miss barely won that game, 35-27. And Tulsa's they're not a good football team. You know, and then there's examples like, Georgia Tech. They beat the living crap out of Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech's a bad team in a meh kind of conference. Very up and down, bizarre season for them. But the actual numbers that struck me as odd, red zone play on both sides of the ball for them is terrible. They're bad in red zone offense and efficiency, and they're bad on defense. They're in the red zone defense, second worst red zone defense in the SEC, just ahead of Auburn. I think is what it was. They're ranked 120th in red zone defense. Opponents are scoring almost 92% of the time in their red zone, in Ole Miss's red zone.
Well, I think that if you looked at this game from an objective viewpoint, you couldn't find a lot of things that would have you say that Arkansas is going to win. Yeah. Although Arkansas's defense has played much better, as of lately, been bringing the pressure, and I think that obviously is helping now that the secondary has kind of stabilized itself a little bit. The defense overall stabilized itself. But here you go with the offense not being able to score. You would think that KJ coming back, being certainly healthier than he was against Liberty, and he was not even on the field against LSU, would give that offense a boost. But the offensive lines are going to have to play better. The blocking from Rocket Sanders and some other in the backfield is going to have to be better. It's it's a continuous effort. I know there was one play last week where they tried to give Tykeus Crawford some help against Harold Perkins with the Rocket chipping him, and he ended up chipping Tykeus instead of Harold Perkins, who, by the way, is a fantastic player, isn't he?
Golly, yeah. Not sure we haven't talked enough about him. Going back to Ole Miss, I'm hearing that their backup running back Evans may be out for this game.
Yeah, had a concussion. Lane talks about concussions, uses the word. That's cool. We'll see whether he plays, but Coach Kiffin has made it clear that their 1-2 punch is better when there's both of them and they're able to give each other rest. Junkins has certainly had a great season. 15 touchdowns and Ole Miss a single season record. True freshman that's really brought a lot to the table. He also catches the ball out of the backfield. And so they've been able to, do a lot of things offensively. You just wonder with the mindset, what are they going to come into this game with? What kind of mindset? Number one, the hopes of playing in the SEC championship game are gone. Certainly a loss that Coach Kiffin says he got over in 24 hours. He thinks his players will too. How that's going to affect him, and then talking about the cold weather. It gets cold in Mississippi too, but he made a point of talking about that this week when nobody really brought it up. So we'll see how it affects his team, how it affects Arkansas. I think a lot of people. You're kind of forgetting this is the last home game, and there are a lot of seniors, Bumper Pool being one, a lot of others who are going out there for the last time. How's that going to play into things? And what's the crowd going to be like? Coach Pittman talked about how he doesn't think the fans are getting up on the team. 6:30, very cold. We'll see how many stay at home, how many go to bars, or how many come to the stadium.
Yeah, weather's going to be. Weather, who a lot of people think played a factor for LSU. I think it did. You can't say that it didn't, but I think it could also have a pretty big impact if it's going to be as cold. What is the prediction for the forecast on Saturday? It's supposed to be in the. What'd you say? The 30s?
The 20s.
20s?
High 20s. I know you'll be leaning over trying to get some of my heater, won't you?
Well, at least this time, or last time they had the windows down. Up in the booth. That was nice. I've never been in there when those windows are down. Otis kept complaining about that the last time we were in the box. Like, why don't they have these dadgum windows down? Obviously, there's a difference. Then you with your heater, and I'm normally where I sit. There's like a little vent right behind me, so it keeps the back of my legs warm. But then everything else, you got to get bundled up. People were making fun of me up in the box. I had a couple of other media people make comments about my big, thick, heavy black jacket. Like, are you kidding me? It's freezing outside. What are we doing? This is cold.
Well, sports media people should never make fun of other sports media people. I'm just saying.
Well,
Fraught with peril there.
And it's not like, I have to walk at halftime. I don't get the luxury of taking a bus or parking really that close to the stadium. I'm all the way down on 56. So at halftime, I got to walk my rear all the way down to 56, which isn't a super far walk. I used to park back in the day, Baum Stadium across from Baum, and walk that all the way up and walk it all the way back down. But I'm getting older and fatter, so I'm going to take a bus when the opportunity presents itself, which I do on the way to the game. At halftime, I can't because they don't run, which kind of sucks. Do us a favor, guys. Make sure you go to hogville.net. Otis Kirk, Dudley Dawson. They'll have you guys covered this weekend. And the post-game shows have been a lot of fun. We've covered already Razorback basketball, certain 5-star commit. I was going to ask you about that really quick. What did you make of that? Arkansas is obviously kind of killing it again in basketball with recruiting. You have any thoughts on the latest commitment, Mr. Bay Fall?
I think it's a lot easier to coach 5 stars than it is 3 and 4 stars. With the talent, certainly I think that Bay, Greg Willis, who is his AAU coach and now his high school coach, has been a mentor. He's from Arkansas, had a lot of things to do with the Arkansas Hawks organization getting going. So that was a good deal. Acion Diop, went to Colorado. Both very good players, but one's a 5-star, one's a 4-star. So if you're going to split that, you want to get the 5-star. Who's 6'11", is going to add a lot to next year's team. Obviously, Layden Blocker's coming in, as well, another 5-star. It's become a thing to get 5 stars here under his watch, and you have to give Musselman and his staff a lot of credit. And he does give his assistants a lot of credit as well for working the recruiting trail, and he's able to close it. Of course, he's out on the recruiting trail a lot as well. 3-0, headed to Maui. Nick Smith, in case people didn't see my tweet last night on Hogville here, was out last night after the game shooting, knocking down shot after shot after shot. Looked like he was moving well, but I'm not going to give an injury update. That's for Nick and Coach Musselman to do. I do think he is nearing playing, whether it's in Maui or whether it's in December, early December. I think he's just going to add to the team. I guess that was one of my bigger impressions last night was Nick being out there shooting. The second thing was Trayvon Brazile hurting that young man's feelings by dunking on top of him, and then Kamani Johnson getting the technical, not Trayvon Brazile. Excuse me.
Not something and Musselman kind of made a good point. He's like, let's act like we've been there, which we haven't with a dunk like that. Listen, I was going to ask you about recruiting, but I also want to ask you from a dunk standpoint. You've been around a lot of Razorback basketball over the years. That's got to be the most violent dunk you've ever seen in Bud Walton Arena.
Certainly one of them. There were some in the early 90s, late 80s that were really good as well. Ron Hury, the late great Ron Hury, and some of the guys on that team in the early 1990s were great drunks. There were a lot of power. There was a lot of athleticism. That was a combination of both last night. It would definitely, I think, have to be in the top 5. But if somebody was asking me that question last night, I'd say, I forgot a lot of dunks too over the years because I have been around the basketball team, either a part of it or covering it now for about to be 42 years. Wow. So I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of great basketball, seen some bad basketball too, seen a lot of dunks. But yeah, that was massive. And when you get guys like Kendrick Perkins, LeBron James, others tweeting about your dunk, then you know that it was pretty good, and that certainly went viral, I guess, as the young kids say these days.
It went viral apparently before the game was even over, and Eric Musselman found out because his daughter texted him about it going viral. That's something. LeBron James talking about it, Magic talking about it. We'll just ignore the fact that they're Lakers, but still pretty fantastic. What an opportunity for Brazil. And not only that, it feels like, and I know it's early, a lot of basketball left to play. but it kind of feels like it cemented his choice to come to Arkansas. Like you come to Arkansas and 3 games in, you've already got a viral video from a dunk.
Yeah, and I think he's a very good player. He was just scratching the surface. Really came on the second half of the season last year against Missouri. Made the decision to transfer down here. Missouri scored 107, I think, the other night. So they're going to be okay. As Dennis Gates came in there and brought some of his own players, but I think that's a big pickup for Arkansas, and really, just about everybody they brought on board from the transfer portal in the last couple of years has really added something to it. I mean, that first year that Coach Musselman got here, there were a couple of guys that didn't pan out, but he's hit on most of them from this point. And also, I mean, you've got 3 of the better players in Arkansas who were mopping up last night. The future's bright here for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, recruiting's, and that was actually going to be my next question because you've been around it for so long. I know Nolan had some fantastic recruiting classes. Mike Anderson had a couple. If I remember right, Mike actually had, I think, at least 2 top 10 classes, if I'm not mistaken, at least one. But we know how sometimes those ratings kind of change every once in a while.
The 1996 class was probably the best one ever in terms of how it was rated, but not all those kids made it to here. And, obviously you would think they would be recruiting really well then. But that was probably the best one that I've seen from top to bottom in terms of signing. Again, they didn't all get here. You had, I think from just a number modern day standpoint, the kids that are playing right now or about to play in Nick Smith's case, that's about as solid as it and as spectacular a class as it can be when you're lower rated of the signees. We're still very high rated in terms of what used to be coming here.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's very difficult to look at the recruiting, the modern recruiting era. And this goes for all the sports, football, baseball, and basketball, compared to even just 15 years ago. It's different. There's more exposure. There's more camps. High school sports have elevated in a lot of places, some places not so much. But yeah, in my lifetime that I can remember, I've never seen anything like this. I know Corliss was huge. I remember when he visited my elementary school, Jefferson Elementary in Fayetteville. It was really cool. We got to see the man, the myth, the legend in our presence. It was a big deal. But looking at what they have now, it's like I've never seen this, definitely in my adult life. And I'll be 40 next year. I've never seen anything like this. It's fantastic. It feels to me like they've left off. This is where they should have been 2 decades ago. You should have been on an upward trajectory. I realize Nolan's final years were controversial and they weren't as great and they were kind of trending down, but they shouldn't have fallen as far as they did the last couple of decades.
Yeah. Before we go any further, 80s rocker there says, I just want to prove this negative Lakers talk. Otis tossed out a lot of negative Lakers talk himself. Now he wants a trade to be made and he wants it now. The strangest thing was the Brooklyn Nets are so unlikable that I rooted for the Lakers last Sunday night to win that game, and that never happens.
I hear you, but God, I hate the Lakers so much. Like, I cannot stand the Lakers. I tolerate his Otis Kirk's Lakers hat. I tolerate it. But he says he's also a Rams fan, but then he's a Yankees fan. I don't know, man. It's a good thing we don't talk a lot of pro sports here. I feel like he and I'd probably argue a little bit. All right, well, let's get back to this Ole Miss Arkansas matchup. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to fire away. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Go to hogville.net, again, for the latest and greatest from the greatest guys like Otis Kirk and Dudley Dawson, Kevin McPherson. They all have you covered. All right. We already kind of touched on it a little bit. They have a very special true freshman running back in Quinshon Judkins. Zach Evans likely out because of concussion protocol. Jackson Dart can run the ball. Dudley, he's their 3rd leading rusher. He's averaging 5 yards a carry, over 500 yards rushing on the ground with over 2,000 yards passing. What does Arkansas do to contain what Ole Miss does on offense?
Well, Coach Pittman brought it up Monday, and the stats are correct. They run for about 259 yards, pass for about 225. So it's a very good mix there. You have to shut down both aspects of their game if you're going to stop them. They certainly play at a fast-paced. Jackson Dart came in from USC. Took him a game or two to kind of get his feet under him and get going. But he's played really well this year. A tough kid, as you said. He'll get you some tough yards running. Sometimes he needs to learn how to slide a little bit better. But certainly there's a guy I think that's going to be the quarterback there for a while. And he makes that offense go, even though he's got a lot of great weapons around him. He's kind of the straw that stirs the drink. He's the guy that Arkansas has to focus on more than anybody else. Excuse me. And certainly give him a lot of credit. Coach Kiffin usually does a pretty good job with those quarterbacks. I know he's trying real hard right now to land Walker White, the junior from Little Rock Christian, who Arkansas has offered, LSU, many other schools. That's going to be interesting to watch as we go down the stretch of his career here. Again, he's just a junior, but a talented kid who has an Arkansas legacy, grandfather, dad, brothers, all played up here in different sports. Someone that they really like, but he does a really good job with quarterbacks down there. So, that's something you have to watch. I'm sure that Coach Kiffin would love to steal Walker White, but I'm sure that Sam Pittman, Kendall Browse, and the offensive coaches up here would love to keep him in state.
Yeah. Good. Some interesting takes here. Someone, and I don't know where it went, but I think they might have deleted it. But this will be the first game that we've had Slusher and Quincy McAdoo in the secondary. This will be the first time. Obviously, Slusher served a 1-game suspension. He's back this week, and then Quincy McAdoo, who I expect will get some playing time at corner. How big of an impact do you think Slusher will have this week against Ole Miss? Or I guess really, does he need to have a big game? Is this a guy at the nickel spot needs to have himself a big game?
Well, I think he certainly does. He was playing well when he was healthy. Obviously got burned a couple of times, but then we found out, we were having hamstring issues there. What do they call it? The elephant in the room. Let's just go ahead and talk about that. The after 2 a.m. arrest on Dixon Street. Certainly, they've released the not dash cam video, but body cam video, and it's something you don't want to see from any aspect. I'm not really going to comment too much on how all that went down. I will say, as someone who's an expert on this, who got a DWI from being down on Dixon Street in 2013, it was on the front page of my own paper that I worked for at the time. You learn lessons. Sometimes you learn them at 50. Sometimes you learn them at 18 and 22. I would like to think that these 2 young men, learned a lesson, but I'm not going to jump on them too much because, as I said, what is it? Those who've done no wrong don't cast stones or something like that. I'm not going to be casting stones too much, but not a good look. It was after the Liberty win, so not the time or place. But you hopefully they will learn their lesson as I did, as many others have. As I was telling you in the text, Dixon Street still undefeated. It'll get you. It's a great place, but it'll get you. Back to having Slusher. Slusher is a starter for a reason. Came into the season, they were really high on him. So yeah, that's going to help, especially because obviously Ole Miss has some very good wide receivers, and as much help as you can get back there, you can. Quincy McAdoo is a young man who was brought up here to play wide receiver, moved over to quarterback, obviously got an interception, and has done some good things there. I'm looking forward to talking to him. We are starting to have our Hog Trough Players Show again at the Grove Comedy Club. He and Jaden Johnson will be there tonight at 6:00. Looking forward to talking to them, about how things have been in the secondary this year in terms of, getting pretty beat up both in games and on social media. But they have rallied here. The defense has rallied. That they're going to be a big key this weekend against Ole Miss, and it's certainly against Missouri as well. You got to win one of these two. Obviously, you would think Missouri would be the easier one, but then again, Arkansas has played better against Ole Miss than it has Missouri in these matchups these last few years. We'll see how it goes. But I do think having a healthy and maybe mindset right on Miles Slusher, and having Quincy McAdoo over there, who clearly has a future there if he wants it, I guess. I think he could make a lot more money over there than he could wide receiver, but we'll see as they go down the line. But certainly, I think this could be as healthy and as ready as that secondary has been all year to be able to put forth a good effort.
Do we have any updates on injuries on the offensive side of the ball? Oh, and also, I'm jumping around. Warren Thompson quitting the team. So let's start there first. What do you make of that? What do you know about it? Give us your take. This is a little bit, I don't want to say astonishing. I definitely didn't see it coming.
Don't know Warren that well. Obviously talked to him in interview settings sometimes, but obviously it didn't end well down for him at Florida State. I'm just like I was with Jerry, the defensive back from Arkansas State who transferred up here and is playing. It's Jerry Jacobs, who's actually playing for the Detroit Lions right now.
Yeah,
quitting at any point during the season, using the word quit, I'm just not big on. I know that you get past but if it's past 4 games and you've already used a year, I don't see the bailing out now. Obviously, the 2 transfer wide receivers came in, got ahead of him. Some of the younger ones are doing that now. Again, wish him well, but I'm gonna finish what you started, guy. And to bail out with 2 games left is just disappointing. Let's go with that. Let's go with disappointing. Just not a big fan of that situation. Again, wish the kid well, but I know they've lost a few games, maybe not going to the type of bowl, if they go to a bowl, that you wanted now, but man up, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I know he struggled dropping the ball, and that has been a constant theme for him since being a Razorback. He just dropped a lot of balls. Not trying to hate on the guy. I'm like you. I wish him the best. Whatever he chooses to do, I just definitely did not. I don't see anybody this late in the year deciding to hang it up or whatever he's doing. That was bizarre and unfortunate. And I know sometimes emotions, maybe there's something going on that we just aren't aware of. I certainly hope it's not. I don't think it's a losing the locker room situation. I don't think it's that. I've seen people talk about that on Twitter, essentially, especially after the Liberty loss and the players getting arrested. Now Warren Thompson leaving, a lot of people jumping on that ship. Well, Sam's losing control. I don't think that's the case. Sometimes it's just a case-by-case situation, and I think that's what this is. Again, didn't see it coming. It's not like you're losing a guy with a ton of production, 12 catches, 178 yards. He does have a couple scores. But we wish him the best.
Shining moment this year was the touchdown against Texas A&M, obviously, which we can go back and find many, many plays in that game now that might have turned the season around if they'd have gone ahead and got the win.
Yeah. They don't – going back to this game really quick, they don't throw the ball really effectively. Their protection has kind of been mixed. I didn't look up their Pro Football Focus grade on the offensive line, but you think this is another week? Is the defense trending in a direction where they're back to where they were at the beginning of the year as far as getting to the quarterback and racking up sacks? You see that happening again?
Sure, appeared so last week. LSU has given up a lot of sacks, and Arkansas took advantage of that. Ole Miss, I think, will give up some, and Arkansas will continue to use the mindset that they did last week, which everybody has been wanting. But as that secondary has gotten healthier, that's Clark playing at safety, and things have kind of moved around. You've got people in better position. I think they were able to do that a lot. I don't think that Ole Miss is going to hurt them too much via the air. The ground, even with Zach Evans out, is a place I think that you really have to focus on, and I'm sure they will. Sometimes blitzes and stunts and stuff are used to get to the quarterback in passing situations. Other times they're used to help you in run situations. That's what's happened with Arkansas's offensive line. The opposing team has done that the last couple of weeks to shut down the running game. So that I really believe this is a true line of scrimmage game this weekend. If Arkansas wins the line of scrimmage on both offense and defense, has more rushing yards than Ole Miss, it's going to win the football game, barring any unforeseen turnovers like Matt Corral with his 6 interceptions 2 years ago when Arkansas won up here. Hudson Clark getting 3 of those. But I think it's going to be a line of scrimmage game. I'm not too worried about the secondary, but can you get your physicality back? can you get your mindset and cohesion back, which I think has been a problem with the offensive line, which has had so much success, but has been a little scattered here lately. Dalton Wagner's supposed to be back this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm glad that Tykees Crawford got some time. He'll grow for it, be better for it next year. But there's a reason Dalton has been there, at that spot for a long time. And, if he's healthy and ready to go, he gives you your best option there at this point.
Yeah, I think a lot of heat on him, Tykees Crawford last week. And I think something that's important to realize, that offensive line is used to having Dalton Wagner at right tackle. When you take him out of the equation, I've kind of felt like it just messed a lot of things up. Maybe there's a communication thing going on up front on line of scrimmage.
Well, if you watched LSU this year, Harold Perkins has beat great SEC offensive line. Not just new guys like Tykees Crawford. He's beat a lot of people. There's a reason, again, that he has had such success. Great speed, great instincts, and the LSU defense gets him set up to where he can attack spots that may be the weakest at that point.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't have any kind of effect on Tykees, because I think he's got a really high ceiling.
May have not been better for it this week, but he'll be better for it down the line.
I agree 110%. I think he's going to learn a lot from that. And like you said, that dude is unreal. I mean, Perkins, that is just unreal. I mean, that dude is a freak of nature. You got some freshmen making some plays in the SEC this year. It's actually kind of fun to watch. Part of me wishes that speaking of freshmen, kind of wish McAdoo had been moved a little sooner. Maybe we'd be talking about McAdoo to that capacity. I don't know. Maybe these last 2 weeks are just coincidence for him. I don't think so. I think the secondary's been better with him in that lineup, and they're only going to get better with Slusher coming back. Man, I had my last question lined up, and I went on that little spiel, and I forgot what I was going to ask.
If I'm going to Dixon Street with you on Saturday, the answer is no.
Oh, you're not going?
No.
You're out? All right. Well, okay. Did you? So Otis's article for the predictions, I think, comes out tomorrow. But if you want to give away a spoiler, did you pick Arkansas or Ole Miss?
What I said was there's not any objective reason to pick Arkansas in this football game, but they win one a year they're not supposed to.
That is true.
A.J. Jefferson's coming back. He's a Mississippi native. We know how well he's played against them. I played really against those two major universities down there. So I went ahead and since you're ahead of me, you got to take some chances here. So I took a chance there and said this will be one of the ones that they'll win. But do I have any confidence in it whatsoever? No. It was strategery.
Yeah. Well, I kind of rolled the dice on a couple of picks this week too, I think, if I remember right. I fill those out in a rush. I try to do as much homework as I can on each of the picks.
Tell me you took Vanderbilt. Tell me you took it again.
Who are they playing this week?
Florida.
Oh, no. But I did write that this could be scrappy. Like Vanderbilt, who beat Kentucky. I've been saying it. I have. Kentucky's been overrated. Them and Ole Miss have been vastly overrated this year.
My draft stock has soared higher than Will Levis's last year.
I can't believe anybody thinks he's a top 3, top 5 pick. I just don't see it.
Dude puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he still gets taken in the first round. I'm sure he does because someone's going to listen. Some front office somewhere in the NFL is listening. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Todd McShay or Kuiper, or maybe it was Kuiper. Someone. I'm sure they'll listen. Like, oh, yeah, all right. We like
Belichick and take him and make him the next Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I saw Tom Brady's last college game. He played against Arkansas, in the bowl down there in Florida. He was okay. There's a reason he was a sixth round pick.
That's true.
He was just okay, but certainly he developed really well. And I wish him luck. Wish him luck on the Dayton scene now.
Sure. And maybe will prove us wrong. I don't know. I just don't see it. I've thought all along that Kentucky offense is boring. Yeah, I mean, they've got a great running back. I'll give them that. They've got a top 5 running back in the SEC. Some would argue maybe even higher than that. But yeah,
well, it's basketball season in Kentucky now, even if they lost earlier.
Say that again. What?
That it's dang sure basketball season in Kentucky now, even if they lost a game.
Oh yeah. They've already moved on. Yeah, for sure. which is kind of sad because for them it's similar with football with like us. We really thought that this year could be pretty good. I had Arkansas at 8-4, and that has I don't know. Do you see? All right, look, if they beat Ole Miss, then clearly they ought to be good enough to beat Missouri, even though it's at Mizzou, a place where Arkansas struggled, oddly enough. If they do win out, that does change the narrative to a degree, does it not?
Well, I hope they do, because I picked them 7-5 to start the season. That's really the only. It's not a rooting interest, but yeah, I picked them 7-5 to start the season. I just didn't see enough on the defense, even though they were bringing in some guys. With all the guys they lost, and I guess in the back of my mind, I didn't say it, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking about the leadership that Henry and Morgan brought over there on defense, and guys you had that just refused to lose. Even if they were not the most physically gifted guys, they would make plays. And that's been an issue this year, on the defense during this stretch until lately. Didn't tackle great, didn't make plays, didn't execute. And you really have not had. Bumper does all he can, but Bumper's really a quiet kid, overall. Grant Morgan will get up in did it, and Henry the same way. They had a few other guys, and I think maybe that's been lacking a little bit this year. But obviously, injuries, execution, we can yada yada yada. They are what they are. They're 5-5.
Yep. Richard Davenport said the exact same thing after I think it was Missouri State.
That's a good man, except that he drinks craft beer instead of Bud Light. So.
Well, he said the same thing though. He said they are what they are. The secondary is what it is what it is. He and I were walking down Razorback Road at halftime. I couldn't keep up with him. I don't know. I don't know the age difference. I couldn't keep up with the guy. He was walking like 100 miles an hour.
He walks Sam and Ruben, his dogs, all the time. So he may have he does it daily. I'm more of a do it every couple of days type guy.
Yeah,
he's consistent about that. So he's in the speed walking mode.
Yeah, and I was trying to keep up with him. I was trying to get some more wisdom, some more ancient wisdom from Richard, and I couldn't keep up. I was like, forget it. I don't know.
My beautiful wife Petra ran marathons. Has not been running here lately, but she ran marathons. I always said I watched marathons, and when we're just walking, going to a movie or a game or something, she'll walk her normal pace and be ahead of me, and she'll turn around. I said, I'll see you when you get there. I'll see you when you get there. This is brisk walking for me, babe.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
I at least go faster downhill than I do uphill, though.
Oh yeah. Shoot, just roll me down the hill. I'll beat everybody if you just want to roll me down the hill.
I told you back in the day, they used to have golf carts that transformed to this.
I know, and that would be nice.
I can bring that back as I get to turn 60 next year. I'd like to bring that back. Hint, UA.
Yeah.
Dr. Charles Robinson, congratulations on that. See if you can't get that taken care of.
There you go. Maybe we need to reach out to him about that. Is he the guy? Because I feel like Hunter would be like, get over it, lose weight. And then maybe
I say we go to the top, because I was a big proponent of his and got that out there on social media. So I say we hit while the iron's hot. So.
Let's do it. Let's write emails. I'm sure he'll be there Saturday up maybe in the booth to introduce himself to the media. Maybe I'm all for it. Let's do it. I'm not kidding. I would like to be home before the end of the third quarter. Because all right. I do appreciate you taking your time out of your day, man, to do this. And I will see you up in the box on Saturday, the last home game of the year.
Yeah, always fun. Going to go back to writing about Mountain Pine and Izard County, 2 8-man football teams playing in the semifinals this weekend against different opponents. So we figure it all here at Hogville and Fearless Friday.
Fearless Friday too. Yep, that's right. We do it all. All right, everybody. Tomorrow, Test Talk with Ty will be live. I'm assuming 11 o'clock. I'm not sure, but just make sure you're subscribed over there. Make sure you're subscribed here. Go to hogville.net for, I think that content's free, Dudley. I'm not entirely sure, but I think the Hogville.
Rumor I've heard. 2 rumors I've heard lately that all content is free and that the Lakers are 7 games behind the Celtics in the standings. Something. 2 rumors now. I'm going to have to double check them.
You hate to see it. All right, everybody. We will see you Make sure you subscribe, and like the video on your way out. We'll see you guys around.